हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे राम राम हरे गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम राम राधा माधव राधे राधे जय राधा माधव राधे राधे जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय निताय गौर सुंदर जय निताय गौर सुंदर ताय गौर सुंदर जय निताय गौर सुंदर जय निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 परमत परविराज अष्टोदशी श्रीमद स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद महाराज के जय नित्य लीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय गौर किशोदा बाबा जी महाराज की जय सच्चिदानंद भक्ति ठाकुर की जय श्री जगन्नाथ बाबा जी महाराज की जय श्री गोस्वामी की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद के जय नामाचा शिल हरदास ठाकुर के जय प्रेम से गौ जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य ब्रह्म नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासति गौर भक्त वृंद के जय जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोधन के जय श्री नवदीप माया प्रधाम के जय मथुरा वृंदावन द्वारका पुरुष अयोध्या प्रधाम के जय पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथ प्रधाम के जय भगवान जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा श्री सुदर्शन चक्र की जय श्री श्री राधा माधव जी के जय, श्री श्री निताय निताय गौर सुंदर के जय, गंगा माँ यमुना माई के जय, वृंददेव भक्त देव के जय, समस्त भक्त वृंद के जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र के जय, इस्कॉन बॉल्टिमोर यात्री के जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories assembled Hare. All glories assembled Hare. All glories assembled Hare. All glory, all Shishi Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada lada daine. Dala daine. Idana shima parat nashima. Hiranya kashi parvakshaha. Shilatan kana kalaya. Shilatan kana kalaya. Itana shima paratana shima. Itana shima paratana shima. Yato yato yami tatana shima. Yato yato yami tatana shima. Bahir nashima, hidaye nashima. Bahir nashima, hidaye nashima. Narashima madem saranam prapade. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Nrsimha Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we welcome everyone to New Kalina Gram Dham, ISKCON Baltimore, to the abode of Nitai Gaur Sundar, Lord Jagannath Subhadrama in the most beautiful Shri Radha Madhav. First of all, thank you, Pujaris, for, I think, our deities, they have done such amazing job. Every time they dress up, they look so amazing. Okay, loud Haribol for them, please. Today's Prashadam is cooked by Siddhu Prabhu and Pancha Prabhu. So the amazing, amazing Prashadam. Loud Haribol for them, please. Today's feast is sponsored by Krishna Priya Singh. So please come forward and take blessings of loud. We can loud Haribol for her, please. You know, I don't know many devotees know Krishna Priya. They made a small, her brother and her, in the old temple with Manu Prabhu used to come. And now they have become such wonderful kids and she's coming regular temple. So nice to see that Krishna conscious always acts. If you give the seed when they're small, it always acts. And we see the effect of that one today. Thank you. Appreciate that. So tomorrow is a very special festival. Like every time there should be festival. Every time should be special festivals. So tomorrow is mango festivals. Well, you know, we always enjoy mangoes at home, but we thought, I think actually Brajbandhu Prabhu, credit goes to him. He said, why should we not give lot of mangoes? He's Vrindavan Dham, he's always playing with mangoes, eating mangoes, stealing mangoes. So let's not have him steal mangoes, but we'll offer him mangoes. So tomorrow we're going to offer more than 1,000 mangoes to Lord, and we got a wonderful Kirtan program. It will start from, I think we'll have, kids Kirtan 5 p.m. onwards, and then after that we'll have program at 7:30. Please be here and please have a good time. Anybody who would like to bring mangoes, they can always bring mangoes. But I think by tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. or something, we have pre-offered them. So please be there for that. Okay, so the next thing, 4th of July, we have wonderful, we have an amazing book distribution team who does a lot of great service. And 4th of July is very special. We'll be going to Washington, D.C. Area because there are hundreds of thousands of people will be there. And what better area to have Harinam and do Bhagavad Gita distribution there. So our team will be going from here. The program will be 5 to 7 p.m. on 4th of July. If you want, we'll be putting the messages for the address where you'll meet us. So you can meet us or you can follow us from here. It'll be on 4th of July after that for that. So please don't forget. And I think Sunil Prabhu has some announcements. Please come forward for our book distribution team. How many know Sunil Prabhu? Everyone. Sorry. Sundarachal Das. How can I forget? 3 years back, he and Mataji, we saw him, during COVID time, just before that. And who would have thought that he's one of our leading book distribution there, It's called just a Krishna's mercy from previous life has come and empowered both him and Mataji. They're one of the amazing distributors. Within 3 months something, he just took to big book distribution. And now he's connected Parampara. Very recently, he was blessed by Vaishek Maharaj. And now his initial, his name is Sundarachal from Sunil Ketta Prabhu. So,
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your nice words. It's inspiring. Dear devotees, we have a report from Saturday and Sunday. We did book distribution on 2 days. So yesterday we did Bhagavad Gita as it is, soft copies 4, Bhagavad Gita as it is, hard copies 1, Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, chapter, just for summary, 8 chapters, that is 1 book. That was yesterday's distribution. Despite we had some rain interruption, otherwise it went really well. And today we have Bhagavad Gita 4 copies of the softbound, and Bhagavad Gita Deluxe 1, Science of Self-Realization 1 copy, Krishna English 1, Hidden Glory of India 1, Journey Back Home, Radhanath Swami Maharaj book, that was 1 copy, and Story of Krishna 4 volume for kids, that we did 1. So overall the book distribution was very encouraging this week as well, like usually. So we have a new participant this week, and even from last couple of weeks he has been doing very actively. That is none other than presence right in front of you. You will see magic happening. not taking much of your time, I will probably give to the next topic.
Loud Haribol for them, please. It takes quite a lot of courage. Coming and standing here for me is easy, but when you go to unknown person and try to tell them about glories or Sanatan Dharma, glories of Sri Bhagavad Gita, and the person sometimes rebukes you and walks away, sometimes insults you or something else, but still being patient, tolerance, just to please Lord Chaitanya, Lord Sri Prabhupada, that takes a lot of courage. And I think we have a wonderful team here who has been very wonderful, like Ashmita Modi is another Mataji who's there. Like a few years back, just saw her, and now she's one of the amazing book distributors, Pratyush Prabhu and his family. So nice to see all these devotees so charged of doing that. May Lord Choice's blessings will be on them. And now I'll give to Mataji for blessings.
Hare Krishna. So in our Baltimore temple, we really stress on Shastras. You just heard the news about book distribution. We ask everyone to read Shastras, memorize Shastras, and our kids are really participating in those activities wonderfully. Last week, we had a shloka memorization competition, and more than 15 kids participated, and we have few winners. It was a very tough competition. So today is the prize ceremony. I'll just announce their names, and they can collect their prizes from Neel Madhav Prabhu. So there were 3 first prize winners. So our first winner is Akshita. Akshita, you come. Akshita is 12-year-old. Tomorrow you're turning 13? Okay. Okay. She's a wonderful Kirtaniya. Please give a big round of applause to Akshita. Again, we have 3 first prize winners. Our second first prize winner is Gaura. She's just 7-year-old. And when she was reciting the verses, I was really impressed. She was the most fluent among all those 15. So Prabhuji will bless you. Our second prize winner is Karthik. He's 11-year-old. He is not here today, so we'll give his prize later. We have another first prize winner who is Keshav. Keshav is also 11-year-old, and he also did a good job. Okay, so second prize winner is not here today. And we have 2 third prize winners. Our first third prize winner is Rama. So Rama, you can come and collect your gift. He's a wonderful Mridanga player, and he's a very good shloka reciter. So thank you. And then we have our third prize winner, Sanya. Sanya, please come and take your gift. Thank you. Thank you for your encouragement.
It's so nice to see these kids, they are our future. And it's so nice that we know that at least ISKCON Baltimore is the right track by them learning what the Shastras, learning shlokas does it. It makes you understand what is the science behind that. It also makes you understand that, your family, your parents, you should all respect to them. A lot of things you get from Bhagavad Gita Gyan. And this is what our teachers are doing. I think we have such dynamic teachers here in ISKCON Baltimore Sunday School. Like yesterday, we are almost like 35, 40 kids who had so many different programs. They had Rath Yatra Festival. I was looking at the pictures. It's just so nice. I think kudos to them. It takes a lot of efforts to bring the kids together and make it happen, but they are all doing it, and we are very sure that this efforts will bear fruit. It's already bearing fruit, looking at Akshita, looking at all them so wonderfully doing Sarsayana, everybody. So that is really wonderful. So congratulations to everyone. Keep it up like that. Hari Bol. So now we have a very special speaker, Syam Bhakti Mataji. Syam Bhakti Mataji is a very senior disciple of His Holiness Vaisheshik Prabhu. She's an amazing preacher, amazing book distributor, and also since she's been helping on the book to the Sunday school kids, try to understand going next level of what Sunday school kids mean. It's not just having playing around. It's to understand the Shastra, it's to understand the doing plays with them, doing singing, everything else there. So it's really amazing and very fortunate she is here today for that. Before that, I forget, is anybody coming for first time? I know one of my friends, Sachin Prabhu, is here. He's coming all the way from Virginia. Loud Haripul for them, please. Anyone else coming first time here? No? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate all of you guys. So please hear this wonderful katha from his Mataji, Syama Bhakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Sunday Love Feast. This is one of the most dear program of our dear Srila Prabhupada. So I'll start with small kirtan. Jai Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Janvalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janvalabha Jaya Gopi Janvalabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braj Jan Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tirvanchari Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, before we start, we just pray our gratitude to all our teachers. So I'll recite some prayers. If you know, you can recite with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. And the meaning of this prayer is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master because I was born in the darkness of ignorance and my spiritual master opened my eyes. I pray and I offer my gratitude to my spiritual master. The next prayer is to our dear Srila Prabhupada. Recite with me. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. Next prayer is to Panch Tattva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And my last prayer is Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. That prayer is for all the Vaishnavas, because Vaishnavas are desire tree and they fulfill all your desires. So thank you all for coming today and giving me the opportunity. And I am going to speak about one of the best book, not one of the best book, but it is the best book in the world. It's called Srimad Bhagavatam. So is anyone here who is not familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam? Who have not heard what is Srimad Bhagavatam? So everyone know Srimad Bhagavatam? You know, Rajiv ji? Okay. Okay. So I am going to glorify in half an hour about this book, which is called Srimad Bhagavatam. So I hope you all can see my presentation. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. So most of us are from India here, and we are familiar, right? We have in India, there are so many Vedas, Upanishads, Aranyakyas, Samhitas. So if I fill this whole room with all those kind of books, but I ask you to pick one book out of that pile, which gives you the essence of all Vedic knowledge, that book will be Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is our Vedic tree. My presentation is showing that we have so many kind of books. Yajurved, Samved, Upanishads, Atharved. And what's the result of a tree? Can anybody tell me what does we expect from a tree? Fruits. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all that Vedic knowledge. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which says, Nigma kalpatarur galitam phalam shukhamukha amrita drivya samyutam pibat bhagavatam rasamalaya muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavako. So the meaning of that verse is that this Bhagavatam is not an ordinary book. It is such kind of fruit. You know, in a fruit, we have a seed and we have a peel, right? But in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is so gala, like Nigma kalp tarur galitam phalam. So in Hindi, we say when a fruit is ripened, we say that fruit gala. So this is such a gala hua fruit that it doesn't have any seed, it doesn't have any peel. You can just directly drink it. When you directly drink it, when you read it, you can get the essence of all Vedic knowledge. So Srimad Bhagavatam is like essence of everything. Now, most of us get confused, especially we book distributor, when we go out and we ask people that would you mind looking at this book Srimad Bhagavatam, and they say, oh, we have it, we don't want to hear. They are very confused because most of us are familiar with Bhagavad Gita, but we don't know what is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the expanded form of Bhagavad Gita. In 1866, when Krishna was finishing Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchaha. He was saying that surrender unto me and I'll make you free from all kind of fears. So he tells that you surrender unto me, but he doesn't tell how to surrender unto him. So Srimad Bhagavatam takes us to that level, and Srimad Bhagavatam tells us how should we surrender to that Supreme Lord. And Sanatan, all our acharyas, they have glorified Srimad Bhagavatam in all their teachings. And Sanatan Goswami in his Krishna Sattvamala, he glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. There are 5 verses. I am going to recite these verses. It is one of the most beautiful prayer that you can ever read. Sarva Shastrabdhi Pyusha Sarva Vedeka Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadhya Sarva Loke Kadrik Prada. So Sanatan Goswami is telling us that, O Srimad Bhagavatam, you are like nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures. So Vedic scriptures are like ocean, right? And we have read that pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam when demigods actually churned the milk ocean. So what came out from the milk ocean? Nectar. So similarly, if we churn all the Vedic scripture, what will come out? Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is, as I told in the beginning, it's the ripened fruit of all the Vedas. Sarva Vedeka Sat Phala. It's that phala which is a transcendental fruit of all the Vedas. Then Sanatana Goswami further says that you are the transcendental jewel of all spiritual philosophical conclusions. And in the second verse, I'll recite, Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidvanto Dhiyaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. He says that, especially in Kali Yuga, people are really bewildered. They are really confused. You know, Kali Yuga is all about chaos. So, where to take the direction from? We can take the direction from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's not just to take direction and guidance, but it is the life breath of all the Vaishnava devotees. This is one of the questions which sages of Naimisharanya ask in Srimad Bhagavatam, that where all the principles, where all the religious principles are going to take shelter. And Shukdev Goswami says that Krishna has come in this book form. Krishna is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So Krishna, among lions, he came in Narsingha form. Among fishes, he came in Matsya form. But among books, he came as Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Krishna was leaving, and everyone got very bewildered and they were worried, then in the third chapter of first canto, this shloka was recited by Shukdev Goswami, that Krishna Swadhama Pagato Dharma Jnanad Bhisaha Kalau Nashtro Drishamesha Punarko Dhunodhita. That Krishna is going to go to his abode, and with his abode, all gyan, all knowledge, and all the religious principle will also go. But what will remain? This Srimad Bhagavatam, and everybody should take the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this book is not just the paper and ink. It is Krishna in his literary form. You can keep this book on your altar, and you can worship this book as Krishna himself. So the third verse of this prayer says, Paramanand Pathaya Premavarshi Aksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastume. So Srimad Bhagavatam, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you can actually attain transcendental bliss. It gives you utmost happiness. All the knowledge which is present in this word. You can ask any question. This book has the answer. We take the guarantee that this book can answer all your questions. So this book has so much knowledge that when you read this book, you become the most wisest person of this entire world. So that guarantee has been given. And it also says, this third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, this prayer says that you are like a rain, rain. We have forest fire in Canada these days. And the only shelter, people wait for that when will rain come. So similarly, because in this bewilderment of Kali Yuga, only shelter that we can take off is of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like rain. It's like pure love of God upon the reader. And everyone should serve the Srimad Bhagavatam because Srimad Bhagavatam is the incarnation of Krishna. Then the fourth verse says, Mad ek bandho mad sangin mad guru man mahadhana man nistarika mad bhagya mad ananda namastute. Sanatana Goswami is praying to Srimad Bhagavatam as, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the only shelter. And then the last verse says, Asadhu sadhuta dain nati nicho chitakara hana muncha kadachin mam premna hit kantayo spura. it been said that Srimad Bhagavatam is the only giver of the saintliness to the unsaintly. So anybody who can be the lowest of the lowest can take the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam and can uplift. So there is a true story. In California, one time a devotee distributed Srimad Bhagavatam to a homeless person, and that person doesn't have had any place to keep Srimad Bhagavatam. He kept Srimad Bhagavatam in a city locker, and he used to just come to the pile of the trash, and he used to take out his Srimad Bhagavatam and he used to read. And just by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he got enlightened, he got full knowledge, and he became an initiated devotee. So Bhagavatam is so pure that it can actually uplift lowest of the lowest people. So Sanatan Goswami is praying that please do not ever leave me, and please come and sit upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. So those who don't know, Srimad Bhagavatam comes in 18 volumes and it has 12 cantos. And all the cantos are different limbs of Krishna. First 2 cantos are Krishna's lotus feet, third, fourth are Krishna's calf, fourth, fifth are Krishna's thighs. Similarly, as we go up, the 10th canto is the Krishna's lotus face. Krishna's lotus face, and 11th and 12th is Krishna's head. So this book comes in a set, and all the cantos represents Krishna's body. Now there are different topics and there are different things that we can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'm just going to go through my slides. And the very first topic is Advent of Bhagavatam. So how does Bhagavatam appeared? So when we all know who is the author of all our Vedic scriptures, Srila Vyasadeva. So Srila Vyasadeva, after writing all the Samhitas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, he was not happy. He was very disappointed. And he didn't know what is the cause of his lamentation. So who did he go to ask his, yes Mataji? Narad Muni, because Narad Muni is his spiritual master. So Narad Muni came and he actually chastised Vedvyas, and he said, you've been giving all this knowledge, but you have not glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All this kind of knowledge is going to actually engage more and more into materialistic propensity. So he says, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastam atra shivdam vedyam vastam vastu shivdam taptrayon muulinam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kimva paririshvara sadhya hridaya viruddhyate shushrubhish tatshanat. So that's the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which tells that Bhagavatam actually rejects all kind of cheating religion. So this book came because there was so much cheating going on. There is still so much cheating going on. But when we take the direction from this book, we can actually defeat all kinds of cheatings. And when we read this book, the Supreme Personality of Godhead come and sit into our heart. And all the troubles and all the misgivings of our heart gets clear. So Narad Muni came and he told Vedvyas to write Srimad Bhagavatam, because that's the only book which can help people to clean their heart and tells how to do ahetuki bhakti. So sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchaha. How to surrender is been only told in Srimad Bhagavatam. And we all must be familiar with the story that goes in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a book in which a story has been told. And as I told in the beginning, that the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam is that Bhagavad Gita is just the preliminary study of all the Vedic knowledge. It talks more philosophy. But Srimad Bhagavatam tells everything in the form of story along with the philosophy. So there's so many stories, and the main story of Srimad Bhagavatam is that one time Parikshit Maharaj, who is the grandson of Arjuna, he was a very good king, but just because of, he went to hunting and he felt very thirsty and very hungry, and he went to a sage ashram. His name was Shamika, and he was not greeted by that sage. So he felt very angry, and just in his anger, he garlanded a dead snake into the Rishi's neck. And Rishi didn't get sad or anything, but he had a son who was playing near him. his name was Shringi. So Shringi got very angry because his father was not treated well, and because of that, he cursed Parikshit Maharaj. He told Parikshit Maharaj that may you die in 7 days. So even though Parikshit Maharaj was a very good devotee and he could have counter-cursed, but he didn't do that, and he just took that as a plan of Krishna. And when he knew that he's going to die in 7 days, he left everything, he left all his kingdom, and he wanted to know what's the duty of a dying man. So this is the book wherein within 7 days, he's been directed, he's been giving the guidance by Shukdev Goswami that what's the duty of a dying man. So this book not just tells how to live, but it also tells how to live. So it's not just the instruction given to Parikshit Maharaj, but it also tells that when we are living in this material world, how should we live our life so that we can attain the transcendental love for God. So Bhakti is the essence. All other books, Vedas, Puranas, they just talk about that, yes, spirituality is important. Different path had been told. But Bhakti is the essence. So this book not only just tells how to live, but it also established the fact that how should we attain the supreme most path, which is Bhakti. So Bhakti supersedes everything. Bhakti is like, you don't need anything else. You don't need any other path. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the only book which can teach you that path. So that path had been told by Shukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj in this book. So coming back to the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are, as I said, there are 12 cantos and there are different topics in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are 10 main topics. So there is Sarga, Visarga, Visarga, and then it talks about Mukti. There are 10 topics, and Srimad Bhagavatam talks about those 10 topics in detail. But I would like to tell you from a practical point of view why Srimad Bhagavatam is so important and how it can benefit us. So, as I told you in the beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all the knowledge. So when we make, butter, right? We collect all the cream and we churn and churn. What comes out of the cream? That is the most important thing from the milk. That is butter, and from butter we make ghee. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam is like that book. And not just that, but the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam is its universality. It has all the topics. As I said in the beginning, you ask any question and this book is going to answer. It has every topic covered. So 5,000 years ago, I think most of the Mataji, they must be familiar with this website called Baby Center. So Baby Center is a website that gives the knowledge that how a baby is developed in the womb. So 5,000 years ago, there were no doctors. There were no kind of people, those who can tell how and when the baby is formed. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are prayers of an unborn baby, and it is being explained in detail when soul enters into the body, what time the nail grows, in what month the hair comes. There were no X-rays, there were no ultrasound. So Srimad Bhagavatam is so advanced, this knowledge of embryology was already there. Not just that, Srimad Bhagavatam talks about concept of time. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about cosmology. Right now, there is so much money is being spent about, going to Mars, going to moon, what's the distance of Earth from sun, and, from this planet to that planet. But all that knowledge was already there in Srimad Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not just the book of the past, it's the book of the future, it's the book of the present. So I'll go to the next slide. Another beautiful thing about Srimad Bhagavatam is that it simplifies complex philosophy. So, sometime when we ask people to read Bhagavad Gita, this book, that book, people just complain, oh, it's too complex, I cannot understand it. But Srimad Bhagavatam is not that kind of a book. It can be understood by a kid of 2-year-old till, no age bar. Anybody can read this book. Why? Because it simplifies complex philosophy. There are so many stories. There are so many stories which tells us that what's the higher perspective, what's the goal of life, how should we lead our lives. Srimad Bhagavatam is that book which tells that we are unnecessarily struggling. There is, devotee, this book is all about devotee and Krishna. So devotee will have a pastime and they will share their learning. There are so many prayers. So through their prayers and through their experience, we get to learn. And we don't have to necessarily go through our own struggle. We can take their teachings and apply those teachings into our life. So this book actually simplifies the complex philosophy. Next is, as I said in the previous slide, there are captivating stories. So we teach these books with the kids. We teach Srimad Bhagavatam with the kids, and kids really take benefit of this book. Why? Because there are so many stories. So it's been told, fact tells, but story sells. So when we tell a story, it really makes a big impact in our heart. We remember it. We can remember its teachings and can apply the teachings in our life. So there are so many stories. So I'll ask question maybe from the kids. Do you remember any stories from Srimad Bhagavatam? Anything which is your favorite? Prithu Maharaj and Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah. So you must have heard these stories. But what is the origin of those stories? All those stories, they are coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. And these story actually helps kids to understand what's the goal of life. And what's unique about Srimad Bhagavatam? It's not just a simple story book. Bhagavatam is very, very unique. And it teaches it through metaphors, it teaches it through allegories, it makes a contrast. So there is sometimes role reversal takes place. There is a story in Srimad Bhagavatam wherein, animals are better than humans. Can anyone tell me what's that story? Animals are better than humans? Or what's the story that you remember about any animal? Yes, Mataji? Gajendra Moksham, yeah, right here the picture is there, yes. Then there is another story in which demons are praised over demigods. Yes, Mataji? Demons are, yes, Ajamil. And there is one more very famous story of a demon, Vritasura, yes. And then there is another one in which, a wife are more smarter than husbands. Can anybody tell me? Draupadi. But there is a very famous story in 10th canto. Brahmana Patnis. Yes. So that book also teaches that wife can outsmart the husband. And there is another story. There are a lot of story about kings. And kings are given higher place than Brahmanas. So that gives the uniqueness to Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not like a normal storybook. Then, as I said, kids love it. Kids love it, and there are a lot of benefit of reading Srimad Bhagavatam with kids. There are material benefits and there are spiritual benefits. So spiritual benefits can be that, it gives us good role models. So our kids in today's world, what are their role models? If you go ask, we go for book distribution and ask different kids, who is your role model? And they say, most of them say, I don't know. And then some of them will say, oh, Superman, Batman, He-Man, She-Man, I don't know, all these characters. Yeah. So why it is that? Because they have not given something higher to show. There is no role model in their life. So Bhagavatam actually gives them role models like Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Krishna. Krishna is the best role model, right? And then it also help us to appreciate their qualities. When we get to read, when we get to read about their story, we appreciate their qualities, and not just appreciate, kids like to imbibe those qualities. Like Dhruv Maharaj's story is one of the most favorite story of all the kids, because in that story Dhruv Maharaj depicts determination. A 5-year-old boy, he is ready to do anything or everything, right? He went to the forest and he prayed there, and he got what he desired. He not only got what he desired, but he got darshan of Lord Narayan. So these stories actually help our kids to imbibe good qualities. It gives, as I said, direct association. And then there are a lot of material benefits. I mean, I would like to spend little time about the material benefits, because, most of the parents think, oh, why these books? And, our kids have basketball class and this class and that class. And, this is some old knowledge from India, and this is no longer, applicable in today's age and time. But Srimad Bhagavatam has a lot of material benefits to the kids. And what are those material benefits? Number one is that Srimad Bhagavatam is being translated by our dear Srila Prabhupada, and it has a very good vocabulary. Our kids can learn all kinds of words. It has the best kind of a vocabulary. We have such difficult words: transcendental, ecstasy, phantasmagoria. Does anyone know the meaning of phantasmagoria here? No? Prabhupada used that word. So when you go today, ask this word from your kids and teach it to him. So it has one of the best book to teach vocabulary. And not just that, it also actually, when our kids grow up, they become teenager, their faith is shaken. When they go and meet the outside world, all the kids, they ask different kind of question. Oh, why do you do this thing? Oh, why do you celebrate Diwali? Or why do you celebrate Janmashtami? And our kids' faith is really shaken. So that time, if our kids have read Srimad Bhagavatam, they have gone through the philosophy, they can be really, really confident. They can face the world from a godly perspective. They will not be ashamed of our culture. They will not be ashamed of our tradition. They will be very confident, and they will tell that this is the reason I celebrate Janmashtami. I follow. When they wear Kanthi Mala, they are able to reply that why they like to wear Kanthi Mala. So kids, those who are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, they become very, very confident. They become very confident about their culture. And not just that, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, kids develop very good critical skill, they have very good language skill, comprehension skill, they have very good reasoning, logical skills, everything is developed. And especially in some of the fields like, like law. Law is one of the fields where they actually test kids based on their philosophical skills. So kids develop their philosophical skills, and then as I told in the beginning, it talks about cosmology, it talks about astronomy, it talks about atomic theory, it talks about politics, sociology, you name it, everything is there in this book. So this book is really, really good for the kids. And then, as I was saying, that it's good for the kids because it lays a very strong foundation. So if we raise our kid with a good foundation, their faith will not be shaken. They will see everything from a logical, godly point of view. I remember when I grew up, my parents used to do arati, but I didn't know why do they perform arati. Why do they need to offer lamp? Why do they offer incense stick? Or why they offer, any other kind of paraphernalia? But all these books give us this knowledge that everything has a reason, everything has its right utility. Utility is one of the principles in our movement. So everything has a use. So when kids, they are raised by reading these kind of books, their foundation is very, very strong, and they can actually fight with the world. So as today world is very, very difficult. I think you all can relate to me. And it's all chaos, calamity, right? And just 2 days back, even marijuana became legal. I mean, it was such a big thing that, So there is no hope. Kali Yuga is really progressing at a very fast pace. And if we want to give some culture, if we want to give a good character to our kids, Srimad Bhagavatam is the only hope. By giving Srimad Bhagavatam to our kids and by reading it with our kids, it can really bring a difference in our family life. And it also helps kids to cope up with peer pressure. There are a lot of peer pressure in today's world. You ask any of our kids, they have to dress in a certain way, they have to present themselves in a certain way, and if they are not presenting themselves in a certain way, then they are just outcast. But when they are raised by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, they can easily cope up with peer pressure. They are very, very confident. Also, Bhagavatam helps us to answer difficult questions. There are so many stories in Srimad Bhagavatam which actually deals with very difficult questions. Like I still remember one of the kids asked me this question. There is this, Sita, Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravan in Ramayana. And also Subhadra was also kidnapped by Arjuna in Mahabharata. So that kid asked me this question, that why it was considered bad by Ravana's act was considered bad, but Arjuna's act was not considered bad. So it was a very intelligent question. But because, I have read Srimad Bhagavatam, I have gone through these kind of scriptures, it was easy for me to answer. But if, kids bring these kind of questions, and it is very, very hard if we are not give them the right answer. So Srimad Bhagavatam help us to answer very difficult question. And not, I just said, not only spiritual question, but even material question is answered by Srimad Bhagavatam. It explains the concept of time, size of the atom, what it also tells about all the symptoms of Kali Yuga, what is going to happen in future. It talks about all the prediction that how severe the Kali Yuga is going to be. And I already covered how it enriches our vocabulary. Then it engages the whole family. It engages the whole family. I remember one story or one incident. I was in Denver, Colorado, and there was a 70-year-old man, and he was thrown by his family out of the house, and he had taken the shelter of the temple, and he used to be very, very sad. His daughter-in-law was really rude with him, and they were in the same city. And we were discussing about his condition. So the reason, he was in that kind of a situation, because family never spent the time together. There was never a family time. There was no understanding of, there was no understanding among family members. So scriptures, if Srimad Bhagavatam is being read by the family, if we give importance and time to Srimad Bhagavatam, then it can really bond us together. It is not just materialistic thing. Most of the kids nowadays, they just come to the parents because they want a car or they want a iPad or this and that. But from the beginning, as a family, if we sit together and we read this book together, we can have a very strong family bonding. So it helps us to create a very good family. So these were few points that I thought of bringing, but the Srimad Bhagavatam is one such book which should be present in every gentleman house. That was told by Srila Prabhupada. And there are 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are 4,500 verses are just about Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam is like Goloka planet. Just imagine 18,000 verses, and among those 18,000 verses, 4,500 verses are just about Krishna. So when you keep Srimad Bhagavatam in your house, demigods actually come and visit your house, because you are keeping Goloka planet in your house. So those who have Srimad Bhagavatam, my takeaway from this, or my point from this presentation is that if you have Srimad Bhagavatam, you read it every day systematically. So why we should read? Because Srimad Bhagavatam can help us to avoid all the pitfalls of this material world. Srimad Bhagavatam takes us through all kind of psychological experience preemptively. You don't have to go through those experiences necessarily. It's been told in Ishopanishad, I guess, the most intelligent person is the one who learns from other people's experiences. So we don't have to go through all kind of those experiences. We can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam and take wisdom. And there is so much turbulence going on in today's material world that we really, really need the shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And also, it's not just a theory. It's not just a theoretical book. It's a practical book. It just takes us on a journey and help us to avoid all kind of mistake. Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Sundar ki jai. Yeah, so I was just saying that we don't necessarily go through all those kind of experiences. We can learn from other people's experience, other people, and Srimad Bhagavatam has the voice of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam has the voice of Krishna and his devotees. His devotees are directly speaking to us that don't commit this mistake. And by their action, by their prayers, we can actually learn and can implement those teachings into our life. And it's not just a theory book, it's a practical book. So what are the takeaway points from this presentation? There are 3 takeaway points that I would like to state upon. The very first is those who have the book, they should read it systematically. They should read it every day. You should try to bring Srimad Bhagavatam into your life daily. And if you have it and if you are reading it, teach it to others. You can have reading circles. You can, if you have your neighbors, tell about the book, and you can open a reading circle and try to read with your family, with your relatives, your family. So teach it to others. And if you don't read it, you are really, really losing something very, very precious. Srimad Bhagavatam is, as I said, it's the Goloka planet itself. And the very first thing, before you read it, I should have asked that, do you have the book? Is everyone here have the book, Srimad Bhagavatam? No. So Richa is saying no. So we'll give you one set today. So every year we have this campaign. It's called Bhadra campaign. So Bhadra Purnima is the day. It's written in 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that on the Bhadra Purnima day, if someone gets Srimad Bhagavatam or gives Srimad Bhagavatam to someone, there is a guarantee to go back to Godhead. So we in the sense that Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust, BBT, is celebrating Bhadra Purnima, which is on 29th of this September. And we run a campaign this year. Our goal is to distribute at least 55,000 Srimad Bhagavatam. So you have a service to do for Srila Prabhupada, and that service is, if you don't have the book, take it for yourself. If you have it, take it for your relatives, for your family, for your friends. And let's say if you have given it to everybody, which we have still not, I'm sure none of us would be in that realm that we have given it to everyone. If you don't would like to give it to anyone, at least advocate about it. Tell it to people. Glorify it about Srimad Bhagavatam. So with that message, I would like to end my presentation, that please help us in spreading about this campaign. And we have a special gift outside, and we have a Srimad Bhagavatam also outside. So those who would like to get a set of Srimad Bhagavatam today, please get it. And we have a special gift for everyone today. It's a free gift. So just stop by at the temple and collect your gift. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.